Hello everybody, welcome back once again. Got another quick, hopefully quick, Octopath Traveler 2 video for you here. This time we're talking Hikari, and this is going to be my character guide for him. So we'll start out here with the path actions. Challenge, I love challenge. Generally, if I'm going to try to be knocking characters out, it's either Throne A, although hers is usable at night, or it's going to be Hikari and his challenge. He's just solid, and he's just very, very powerful, and I prefer to use him to challenge as opposed to, like, Chet and her provoke. I just don't like hers as much. Next is his bribe, which is path action at night. So very similar to Oswald's Scrutinize. Oswald's Scrutinize, though, is usable during the day, whereas Hikari's bribe is usable at night. Just great because you have no level requirement. It's just if you've got enough cash, boom, you can get the information. I love it. Next up is his talent is Learned Skills, which is what makes Hikari insane. It says utilize skills learned during challenges to aid you in battle. Basically, almost every NPC has a skill for you to learn if you can beat them in a challenge. And some of them are absolutely insane. I'll go over those in a little bit. And then his latent power is Light's Radiance. I think that's actually Shadow's Hold or something like that early in the game, but because of storyline reasons, that changes to Light's Radiance later. It says unleash the power of triumphant light within to unlock special skills. As far as I know, the skills don't actually change, but they are kind of cool. I don't know. I don't really use his latent that much, but there are some times where it's very, very good. All right, so let's talk his skills and specifically the warrior skills first. So aggressive slash, solid ability, unleash a sword attack on random foes 3 times. This is really great, especially when you're in a boss battle. Less impressive when you're dealing with random encounters because oftentimes you'll slash things that don't have a sword vulnerability anyway, so less useful in times like that. But very, very good attack, especially for duels as well as the boss battles. Piercing Thrust, barely ever use this. Unleash a powerful arm attack on a single foe and have a 25% chance to deal a critical hit. Cool, but it's only a single attack, which I think is a little on the lame side, but kind of nice that it does have that extra chance to crit. Abide, raise your physical attack for 3 turns. This is pretty decent. It's nice that it lasts 3 turns, but there's actually some other abilities that he can learn as learned skills that have this effect kind of built in. So that can be pretty nice, but it is a pretty solid ability regardless. Enervating Slash, I hate this ability. Nullify all positive status effects on a single foe. That's not correct. It's nullify all negative status effects on a single foe. Then unleash a sword attack. The more status effects you nullify, the more... Oh, I'm sorry. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. The more status effects you nullify... I think this is wrong, though. No, I'm sorry. So it's effects on him. So when you buff up Hikari with Abide and that sort of things, or that sort of thing, when you use Enervating Slash, it removes your buffs and hits the enemy for more damage depending on how much you've removed. I knew this was incorrectly stated, and that is the case. It should say nullify all positive effects on Hikari, then unleash a sword attack on a single foe, and the more status effects you basically eat, the more potent the attack. So very, very naughty job there on the developers by not correctly describing that ability. I was always wondering, too, why that was. It wasn't actually eating enemy status effects, right, buffs. And that's why. It's because that's not how the skill actually works. I don't like it, though. Why remove your own buffs? It's a lot like Desperate Strike or whatever from that Casty has. I just don't think it's worth it. So yeah, don't like that skill. Never really used it. Stout Wall, raise your physical defense for 3 turns. Pretty solid, right? A buff that raises physical defense. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? Abide and Stout Wall are solid. Incite, draw foe's single target attacks to yourself for 3 turns. Never used it. Literally never used this. Though that it does make a good combo. There's maybe a couple pieces in the gear in the game that actually make it so that the enemies target you more often. I just never used that. I don't think that this is a worthwhile ability. There's better things to do with your time than Insight. Vengeful Blade. Grant yourself the ability to counter physical damage with a sword attack 2 times. The counter attack reduces the enemy's shield points regardless of their weak points. This would make a good combo with Insight. And I mean, but again, I don't really like Insight, so I wouldn't bother with that. But very good for duels. Vengeful Blade is anyway. And especially good for duels where you can't necessarily take advantage of an enemy's vulnerability. So you just wait for them to attack you, and then boom, you knock off a shield regardless. Brand's Blade, amazing ability. Very, very strong. Hits like a truck. Extraordinarily powerful sword attack on a single foe, and that is accurately described. Phenomenal ability. Alright, so as far as Hikari's skills, his skill that he gets from his shrine is the ultimate stance. I barely ever use this, but it is good. Extend the reach of your attack to all foes for 3 turns. That is good. It's a lot like Seal Teach's Seduction. You can use Seal Teach's Seduction on Hikari to basically do the same thing. The only thing that I didn't really like about this was it was like Hikari is such a beast that I would rather have him dealing damage as opposed to, like, you know, buffing himself up to do things like that. So I let other people do that sort of buff, again, Seal Teach's Seduction on him, and I make him do, you know, the big hits. And then Shinju Monjigiri is pretty solid as well. Unleash your sword attack on all foes, then a powerful sword attack on a single foe. Kind of decent for clearing out random encounters. Not as good though as is it? I think it's Divine Dual Edge, something like that. Basically, which is just a sword attack on all foes twice. So this is just a slight downgrade from that, which is a bit of a shame because it's an EX skill. And also, you don't get this until you have completed Hikari's final chapter. So, all right, next up is Bolstering Break. Raises the equipping character's physical attack when breaking an enemy. I actually use this a lot for duels. I mean, it's just in general, it's pretty solid, but it's more useful to me in duels because Hikari is going to be the one that breaks the enemy. Whereas in random encounters or boss battles, you know, you have to make an effort to make sure that Hikari is the one breaking. It doesn't mean it's a bad ability, it's just less usable in you know, other situations, again, other than duels. Summon Strength raises the equipping character's physical attack by 50. This is okay at the beginning of the game. This becomes, I don't know, less interesting as the game goes by because it doesn't scale. But you know, again, okay skill at the beginning of the game. Latent Power Plus raises the amount of latent power gained by the equipping character. Never use this really. I think I can count on one hand how many times I used it. I think I gave it a shot in a couple of duels, but not really that great, and there's better skills. Deal more damage, though. Amazing ability. One of the best support skills in the entire game. Increases maximum damage that can be dealt by the equipping character to 99,999. So it's basically the breaking the damage limit. Solid ability. All right, so being that we're on the topic of support skills, let's talk about the ones that I actually use on Hikari. So I actually use Vigorous Victor. I would not use this for boss battles. I would actually have deal more damage in this slot here. You just don't really need deal more damage for random encounters. You need that for the bosses. You're going to be slaughtering without the need of this for the random encounters. Also, Step Ahead, just solid. I use this on everybody basically all the time. Just always a very, very good support skill. Boost Start, again, pretty standard as well. Very, very good for really all, or at all points in the game. And then, kind of your extra one, again, let's just assume, you're, like, for doing random encounters here, I would probably replace this with, I don't know, maybe like Life in the Shadows or extra experience, right, just to make sure that I'm leveling more quickly. Because it just doesn't really, he doesn't really need much else. You don't need like full power, although that wouldn't be so bad either, right? Because then you could use your latent power right off the jump. So that would be a solid ability as well. But yeah, it's really up to you. I think that Most of this stuff just isn't going to be all that impactful. You don't need, like, like SP Saver. You're not really going to need to do that with Vigorous Victor, because that's going to take care of your HP and SP needs between battles. But that's kind of my setup. Again, it's going to be deal more damage or Vigorous Victor again, depending on whether I'm in a boss battle or doing randoms, and then swap something out for, like, whatever, more XP or something. For combos, I actually like to use him as Hunter. Hunter's okay. Probably his best one, though, is Arms Master. Hikari is already a physical powerhouse, and Arms Master just gives you a lot of, I guess, well, I want to say it gives him a lot of ability to take advantage of all kinds of different, obviously with being able to equip all the different weapons, means that as long as an enemy has a weak point that's of one of these weapons, you can take advantage of that. So it gives him some diversity as far as his weapons go, but he doesn't really need it. And I think that the real thing that you're getting out of this is a pretty decent chunk of physical attack. Well, I mean, an okay amount of physical attack, let's be honest. It's not that much, but that's okay. Sixfold Strike is good, but that's really good on everybody, right? And for the same reason. Characters that have, and especially somebody like Temenos, who only has a staff, really needs some help as far as weapons go, if you want to try to do any sort of breaking with him. So I tend to think that Temenos is a pretty solid choice for Arms Master, but Hikari does really, really well with that as well, because again, he already has really good physical attack, and taking advantage of all these different skills that the Arms Master has is a very, very good combo. But I settled for Hunter. Nice thing about Hunter is you've got 4 different weapon types to choose from here. You've got sword, spear, obviously that's the warrior, and then you've got axe and bow. The one that I like the most is actually the bow, because I love the Frenzied Fire skill. It's got some accuracy issues, and so you'll need to boost up Hikari's accuracy, or at least try to use a bow that's got some accuracy on it, like the Battle Tested. I'm sorry, no, I don't think the Battle Tested bow actually has accuracy, now that I think about it. I think that's crit. Yeah, crit 120. That's my bad. So yeah, you'll probably want to go with some sort of accuracy from some of your other gear, if you're gonna use Frenzied Fire. But there are a lot of bosses and a lot of monsters in the game that are vulnerable to bow attacks. Frenzied Fire hits from, I think it's 4 to 8 times. And also, if you've got a battle-tested bow equipped, you've got a chance to reduce the target's physical defense on every hit. So you can really stack up those debuffs using this. And yeah, just a solid combo. I won't go too much into the other skills that he's getting as a hunter, just because I've been over that with the Ochet guide. But he does have some interesting things that he can do as well here, like Dreyfendi's bow, right? If you're going to use enough, though I think this is almost redundant, right? You can either use Frenzied Fire, and the great thing about Frenzied Fire is you can use it regardless of how much BP you've got. Again, it's got the accuracy issue, but you can also then use, basically I use Frenzied Fire to break, and then once the enemy is broken, then you do like a Brand's Blade, right, and just slaughter. For equipment, I think Hikari is one of the better characters to use the battle-tested blade on. I actually ended up, usually farming more than one of these. So it's him and Throne basically are the two that I think are really, really good to have this. The spear doesn't matter as much, although this isn't so bad. The battle-tested spear is okay. I also like to use, though, let's see here, which one was it? Not that one. Some chance to poison, some chance to... Yeah, here we are. The Well-Worn Pole. So the Well-Worn Pole in combination with his aggressive thrust ability, it's brutal. Especially if you've got a bunch of different characters that are using elemental attacks, right? So there's a really, really good chance that the Well-Worn Pole in combination with the aggressive thrust is going to put multiple stacks of that debuff on enemies. Again, mostly great for bosses. The other great thing about that is it's very similar to Frenzied Fire, where you can use that to break, and then you can just dish out the pain with either other characters or, whatever. So very, very, very good equipment to do that. Cleaver of Destruction, I didn't really use that much just because I never used any learned axe skills. Ideally, that's what you would do. And there are a couple of really good axe skills in the game. I can think of one off the top of my head, which I believe is a 2-hit axe strike. I believe it's on all enemies, but it also buffs your allies with a attack buff, a physical attack buff. So that would be a very solid choice, and especially with Cleaver of Destruction, because also, again, and similar to these other items, you'll be able to have a chance at reducing the target's physical defense with that. So very, very good axe. Battle-tested bow, already went over that. Again, slim chance to reduce target's physical defense, very similar to the Cleaver with those multi-hit abilities. Shields, do whatever you want. I just have battle-tested on them right now. As far as his helmet, I do like these the equipment that has SP bonuses. Hikari just doesn't have much SP, and so it's really nice to give him some equipment that is boosting that up. Fang of Ferocity raises damage dealt by boosted attacks. You know, probably one of the better characters to use this on is going to be Hikari, because you're generally not going to be using his BP to buff other characters or whatever. You're going to be using it to hit enemies, and the Fang of Ferocity just really synergizes really well with him. Finisher's Claws is pretty good on him as well. Raises the damage dealt by critical hits. I know a lot of people like to use the... Oh, what is that thing called? I never use it, but... Yeah, Alpion's Amulet. It says deal more damage when your HP is low. It is a good item. It's a very good item. I just don't like running around with 1 HP. So I never use this, but this is a really, really solid item, and it's really good for duels as well, as long as you can hit hard enough, right? So you're going to start out the battle at 1 HP, but you're gonna hit really, really hard, and as long as you've got things like a step ahead, you'll probably be okay. But anyways, I do like to use the Finisher's Claws. As far as combos with him, I'm not going to go into it too much, but it's mostly just the Dancer Seal Tejas Seduction. I think that that is really... that's not it, but that's just how I used him. There's so many... Let's be honest, there's a bunch of really good combos with Hikari. I like Seal Tej because it turns things like Limb from Limb, which is a 4-strike sword attack. It turns that into a... it's going to hit all enemies then 4 times, right? So that's just a really, really solid combo. Divine Protection as well. It's kind of a fun one with that. It says grant a single ally 1 turn of invincibility, but with Seal Tej, that's going to hit all allies. And Divine Protection is one of the craziest skills in the game. I always have to bring it up because it was kind of clutch in my Galdera battle. I was having a rough time in that second phase, and Divine Protection just nailed it for me. It's such a good ability. Already went over Frenzied Fire. And also, I should say, take a look at my Hikari Best Skills Guide for more really good suggestions. I'll try to remember to include that or a link to that in the comments section. But yeah, very, very good character. A lot of different combos with him. And honestly, it's tough to leave town without the guy because he's that good. But anyways, that's going to be it for this one. As always, I hope the guide was helpful, and thanks for watching.